So I'm going down the wrong way, yeah? Down a one-way street here, but this is Carondelet Park. This is the third biggest park in St. Louis. Going past the soccer field here, that's very poignant. It's actually a really nice park, guys. I'm gonna be honest with you. Maybe in a bit, if we get to the end of the ride, we'll go for a ride around the pavilion and the lakes here. But it's very pretty, but that's not why we're riding today. We're gonna head out of the park and we're gonna go to Vermont Avenue, and down this way are, you know, a lot of streets are named after states. So we're gonna go for a quick nosy around this park, then we're gonna head out onto the roads of Carondelet, and then we'll hit Bevo Mill, and I'm gonna make my way up to the hill, and all will be revealed. So what are we doing today? There's a park ranger about to go past. So what are we doing today? So when I do my long rides in a weekend, sorry, waving at the park ranger. So what are we doing today? There's the big fountain. When I do my long rides of a weekend, there's I listen to the soccer games in England, and I'll mention as we're riding, I'll be like, oh, Everton are in trouble, or you know, City are amazing, or United are in trouble, whatever, you know. And obviously living in England, it's a massive part of life, you know. And my dad's from Nottingham originally, and he used to take me to the City Ground in Nottingham. My grandfather is a Manchester United fan who used to take me to Old Trafford. And yeah, so in 1982, during the Spain World Cup, my dad bought me a World Cup book. And, you know, I was asking him questions about it, and he mentioned once that England had got beaten by the USA. You know, massive upset. Massive upset. You know, so much so that when the telegram arrived back in London from Brazil, that they thought it was a misprint. And they thought, instead of the US winning 1-0, that England had actually won 10-1. But no, it wasn't the case. Now here's the crazy thing. 5 of the guys that played in that game are from St. Louis, Missouri. So we are going to go check them out. We're going to go find out where they were from, where they were born, a little bit about their lives. And that's what we're going to do today. I've been meaning to do this for a while. You know, let's make these rides sometimes a little more than just riding bikes. Let's make them about the local area and what we're about. And I think St. Louis sometimes goes a bit too much about its soccer history. You know, I used to say, well, you're not making history, you're living off your history. But now they actually are making history with the new stadium and the MLS team and everything. So I feel duty bound to keep the memories of these guys that played in that game in Belo Horizonte in 1950 alive. And yeah, I'm finding it difficult to talk about this and cycle at the same time. So there may be a bit stop-start, but let's see how we go. This is Vermont Avenue. Look at these houses here. Look at the brickwork at the front porches. How pretty is that? So again, as I say, this is Vermont Avenue. To my right is Alabama. To my left is Virginia and Michigan Avenue. Obviously we know how they're named. But I do love these old neighborhoods. I do love these old brick houses. Remind me of where I grew up in England. You know, little semi-detached brick houses. 7100. Okay, so I'm gonna stop here. So this is 7121 Vermont Avenue. just less than 100 years ago, a guy called Harry Keogh used to live here. And Harry became a giant in the US soccer landscape. We came here first because obviously it's closest to Carondelet Park, where I parked my car this morning. But this area, back in the day, was a predominantly Spanish-speaking neighborhood. Love these old ranch bungalows. But it's a proper working-class neighborhood. Reminds me of where I grew up, as I say. And Harry played for the US a number of times, and he went to the World Cup in Brazil. But he also captained the US, and because he spoke Spanish from living here and playing soccer with the local kids, he was fluent in Spanish, so he became captain of the US national team when we played Spain. And but the thing is with Harry, his biggest legacy is in coaching. And even though he won a number of Open Cups with Cudis and the St. Louis Regional Leagues, he was the coach of SLU for 5 national championships. And SLU is a great university, don't get me wrong, but best will in the world, it's not Stanford, it's not the mighty colossus universities of, your Ohio States or your Alabamas or Georgias or whatnot. Little SLU, he won 5 national championships. That's Alex Ferguson stuff, that's Bob Paisley stuff, that's Joe Fagan stuff. And it's wild. And he grew up here, 7121 Vermont Avenue. Harry worked for the post office. He played soccer and coached soccer part-time. But an absolute titan of US soccer lived right here. All right, so as I say, there was 5 US guys in that team of 1950, and we're going to go see where the other 4 grew up. And thankfully, they grew up around the corner from each other. Okay, this is Winnett, just off Carondelet Park. Look at these old homes. They're not old homes. They're older than mine. But they're amazing. Can you hear how quiet it is? We're in a city. But it's quiet. Once you get away from that highway, it's quiet. The Garcia Properties sign there for sale. Garcia Properties. Johnny Garcia selling his homes. Top dude is Johnny. Met him through soccer too. Going to watching the St. Louis FC back in the day. When people say, oh, St. Louis, blah, blah, blah. It's beautiful. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. People getting the pumpkins out for Halloween. It's going to start getting cold. Alright, best ride my bike instead of being on the camera. So yeah, we're gonna head up to the hill now, and it's a really cute Italian neighborhood. It's absolutely superb. I love going the hill. I've got to get there. I'm not a fan, honestly, I'm not a fan of riding in the city because the drives are a bit knobbish, but I really wanted to do this video. And here we are. All right, so let's get the hill. You know what? It's quiet. Aside from the sound of the highway, it is quiet. So we finally made it, and it just made me realize how much I dislike riding in the city. And it's not bad, but when you're used to like open farm roads and you just go for 10-15 miles without seeing another person, stop signs and traffic lights every 2 feet does not a cyclist make, I don't think. And it's just a different style of riding, and I'm not used to it. But even when mapping the route, I come across a couple of no left turn signs that I didn't know about. You don't see those on a map. So it's just, it's just a different style of riding. This is more a commuter type riding, and It's not what I'm used to, but still. All right, so we made it to the hill, and we're gonna see a bunch of those signs and little Italian flags all over the place. It really is a cute neighborhood, so let's go and enjoy it. Again, it's just a top little neighborhood. Very proud, very clean. And there's the soccer flags. I love the pride that they have in this neighborhood. Don't even know what road this is. This is Southwest maybe? Nah. Oh, Columbia. Apparently this is one of the last few pure Italian neighborhoods left in the country. Probably outside of like Brooklyn and it's just phenomenal. And it's clean. I talk about pride in the neighborhood. It's absolutely immaculate. The only thing wrong with it is the roads, and that's on the DOT, not on the residents. Oh, beautiful houses. All right, I'm going to turn right here on January, and even the fire hydrants, they've got the Italian flags on them. Very working class. You see the Ironworkers Local 396 there. This is 5565 Elizabeth. And what's great about this is where Charlie Colombo lived and grew up. And Charlie Colombo was a defender. I'm going to try and scoot the camera around. Charlie Lefty Colombo, National Soccer Hall of Fame, inductee 1976. Now the light's not too good under that tree. But anyway, 5565 Elizabeth Avenue, and obviously people still live in these houses. I feel a bit funny walking up and videotaping the house, but it's history. I would love to live in one of those houses with the little plaque out front. But Charlie Colombo, he always wore gloves, believe it or not like little gloves like this, boxing gloves. He wore boxing gloves when he played. He was a defender, and he's famous for the foul on Stanley Mortensen in the epic game against England that led to a free kick in the last minute. And when I say tackle or a foul, apparently it wouldn't have gone amiss at Twickenham. It was a bit of a arms around the waist and dragged him down to stop him having a through on goal situation. It probably would have been a red card in this day and age, but you know, it wasn't this day and age. It was different, wasn't it? So that was Charlie Colombo. Charlie was a PE teacher at St Ambrose College, which is towards the middle of the hill, and we'll pass that in a minute. But amazing. It's just there, a big old plaque in the middle of the sidewalk, and I'm grateful that they've put those plaques out there because they deserve it. But that was Charlie. He was a defender. Now let's go meet the other guys. You can hear the bells of St Ambrose. I was just talking about Charlie Colombo being a PE teacher there, but now we are at the house of Frank Pee Wee Wallace. Frank was a forward. Frank was a forward in the game. He didn't play too often for the US. You know, maybe got 7 or 8 caps. I'll have to look on Wikipedia. Done no research for this. I just came out on a whim and figured today was the day to do it. But this is 5119 Daggett Avenue, and Frank Wallace lived here. Frank also worked for the post office like Harry, and Frank played for Simpkins Ford. In fact, all 4 lads that came from the hill all played for Simpkins, and they won numerous leagues. And they won numerous Open Cups. Probably one of the most successful teams in the country in the 1950s. And Walter Giesler, the coach of the US national team, courted controversy when he picked these 5 guys from St. Louis, but he all knew they knew how to play together, and that's half the battle. And you know, the biggest upset, one of the biggest upsets in World Cup history happened right here. So this is 5119 Daggett. This is the house of Frank Wallace. So again, this is 5108 Daggett. Gino was a dock worker. Also played for Simpkins. I think he was also a forward. Honestly, not quite sure. Not quite sure. But either way, he was a dock worker and played for Simpkins. Numerous Open Cups. Numerous St. Louis Regional League trophies. Again, lived right over the road from Frank Pee Wee Wallace over there. And there's his and there's his plaque in the wall. I think the plaques in the wall are an absolute lovely touch. Alright, so stood outside the home of 1919 Marconi on the hill. This is Frank Borgi's house. There's his plaque. So Frank Borgi was the goalkeeper. And he, again, played for Simpkins, Open Cups, Regional League Championships, doubles. But Frank's probably the most well-known. Also because he lived the longest. But he's got the iconic photograph of the crowd in Brazil lifting him onto his shoulders. So, especially in the last minute with the save from the free kick. And as I said, Charlie Colombo from up the road on Elizabeth, he fouled Stanley Mortensen, and there was a last minute free kick, and Borgi did a miracle save apparently. And he's famous, and his photograph is in all the newspapers the next day, being carried off the field when the Brazilians invaded the pitch to load the American guys. But that's it. I mean, 5 guys within 2 miles of each other played for the US in that game. And there was a 6th guy on the squad. I got to remember Robert Annis, who didn't play in the game, but Robert Annis made a 6th member of the squad, and Giesler was the coach. And I think he's buried in DeSoto, which is, I don't know, 15 miles south of here. But real strong connections to St. Louis, especially in that World Cup, and essentially every single World Cup since. But this is a piece of Americana right here. So I'm on Shore Road. I'm making my way slowly back to Carondelet. And that was our little soccer tour of the hill and Harry Keogh's house in Carondelet. I'm going to leave you with this little tidbit that 10% of US national team players on the men's side, 10% of them have come from St. Louis. You know, I can just start reeling them off. You know, Brad Davis, Tim Ream, Josh Sargent, they're the most recent ones. Steve Petcher, you know, Harry Keogh, Robert Annis. Even Brian McBride went to SLU, although he came from Chicago. Taylor Twellman, Tim Twellman. Every single time the US has qualified for the World Cup, a guy from St. Louis has been in the squad. Now, I don't want to get in the current tit-for-tat argument about soccer capitals, soccer capitals of America, but we've got to be in the conversation. And if Kansas City are laying claim to it, then if I'm Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, I'm upset. If I'm Falls River, Massachusetts, or wherever it is, I'm upset. Because they've got just as much claim to it as anyone. So, alright. So that was our little tour of the hill and the soccer history of the hill. I'm going to head back to Carondelet. And that'll be it. And I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.